like a mule. It's a real mean team, but we can love.
Everyone is a product, and everyone needs marketing to succeed. Let's talk about it right now on the C-Spot. Going to market with Wendi and Peter.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is the C-Spot, and you are here with Wendi Cooper. That's me.
And Peter Sobey.
And
that's me.
And can you? We do this every day, every week. We end up my headphones are not now. They're not
That's
loud
what I
enough.
wanted to try and check before you left here.
But you know what, Peter? Why don't you talk for a second?
Okay.
And I know what to do there.
Okay, great.
Okay?
So yes,
Stand by.
You are here this week on the C-Spot, going to market with Wendi and Peter. I'll look right at the camera as I say that. And we are here every Thursday on ubnradio.com, Channel 1, at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And the...
much better. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Now Wendi can hear good again. There we are.
Okay.
And so, we're here every Thursday at 12 noon, and we talk about marketing, and Wendi is one of the foremost direct response marketing experts out there.
Peter will sit here and schmooze me all day long, so I have to stop him because I really hate when people do that about me. But Peter, I love you for doing that. But
yes.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
I can't help it, Wendi.
I know you can't. You did it last week too. I was like, I just don't do well when people say amazing things about me, although they are all true.
Right. And speaking of amazing things about you, you look stunning today.
Oh, thank you. I was just telling you and Tony before the show that I'm testing out different colors since this is our new venue.
Right.
For those of you listening and you can't see me, which you will be able to see me if you just watch the show on YouTube in a couple of days when we post it up.
Yeah.
But I have red on today. I have my hair down as opposed to up.
Right.
Right. So
I think you found a really good combo.
And maybe on the break I'll pull out my laptop so I can see what I look like. But I promised myself that I would not look at myself in my laptop today because I can look at the live feed also.
Right.
Right. So I
Although it's off 20 seconds or so.
It's off 20 seconds, so it kind of screws you up, But when I did live shopping for HSN and stuff like that, it was always off. But I got used to it because we used to have to see what was coming up next and then on the next camera, and then listen to the producer in our ears, but yet talk live to the.
That is such an art. I don't know how you do that.
And then deal with the host next to you, like, shut up, bitch. My turn to talk. I never said bitch, but I did get in trouble a few times.
Wow.
Anyway, the whole idea is that I'm testing out colors because behind us we have the UBN banner.
Yes.
Right, which will soon become a C-Spot banner when I get around to it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So
great idea.
Anyway, Peter.
But I think you found a good color. This really looks good.
Does it look good?
Yeah,
well,
totally.
Claudia last week she wore red. Was it last week or the week
2 weeks
before?
ago.
2 weeks ago, and she was in that seat against the black backdrop,
right.
And she looked hot.
And you got the black chair behind you, and the black microphone, and the dark banner.
The whole idea is always to look hot.
Exactly.
No matter how old you get. And believe me, I'm old, people. I am old. So we have a great guest today.
Yeah, so exciting.
It is. I am super excited. I'll talk about that in just a minute because I think that he calls in, right?
Yeah.
Is that how we do it on the show?
And he's listening as we speak, but we'll introduce him in a moment.
Oh,
yes, he is.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, anyway, Peter, I'm sorry you're not feeling very good today.
I feel great. It's just somehow, I think, just lack of sleep this week is...
Well, that's because I saw the email, you sent it at 3:20 a.m. last night.
Right.
Yeah, and
but
I was
good.
getting up in just a couple of hours.
It's good to be busy, though, right?
It's good to be busy. It's good to be alive. It is good to be grateful.
And, and just being, I feel great, but being tired, it kind of gives me the good, smoky, sexy radio voice, right?
And that smoky look, too.
Right.
But you got your hair smooth back today,
yes.
too. You look good,
yes,
Pete.
Indeed.
Thanks,
Wendi.
You look good. Maybe it's that log bomer thing that you're going through.
Right,
there.
exactly.
Oh.
Growing my beard out. I only have
Jesus, you're doing all that?
Well,
you're not shaving for 40 days?
Yeah, not shaving for 39 days.
39, well, 40, 39.
Right.
What's the difference? Let's okay. All right. So we don't waste any more time.
But enough about us, yes.
Yes, enough about us. We like to always mention at the top of the show, we like to mention a Kickstarter campaign that where I've supported 19-year-old inventor Lexi Eugenia. I met her when I was on the panel at the Houseware Show in Chicago for the Inventors Corner. Struggling a little bit, struggling. And I don't know why, but I'm not going to say. But anyway, it's called Flexi Splash Guard. That's with 2 eyes. It's up on the screen. I think Peter always puts it up on the screen. We'd love for you to go in there and pledge a little bit. She is a 19-year-old inventor, and she's come up with this product that protects you from getting wet when you're doing the dishes. So it's kind of cool. It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a really cool thing.
Yeah, and she's in prototype stage right now, so she's raising the money for her tooling, and then probably her first run. But her mom, she's got a big support staff behind, or support system behind her, so it's not like she's 19 and she's trying to bring a product to market. No way, people. Put brakes on. Doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
Only in your dreams. And then let's see, what else are we going to talk about before we get our guest on?
That's kind of like...
That's it?
That's what we got, because the C Spotlight we just are not doing this week just because we're reorganizing a little bit.
No, I'm going to be blatant.
Okay, be blatant.
I'm going to be blatant. We used to be on a station called LA Talk Radio, and we were there for 2 years. We had 105 shows. We loved being there, but we left. And suddenly all of our 105 shows that were on iTunes have somehow this week disappeared.
Yep.
Which sucks. Okay. I have downloaded them in the past, but I have them. So they're great shows filled with great experts and authors and singer-songwriters and all sorts of entrepreneurs. And damn if they're not there right now.
Right. So right now you can't go and listen to the old shows, but we'll get them back up on the new iTunes.
We'll fix it.
And you can always go to our YouTube to watch all of our new ubnradio.com shows.
Which is the C-Spot Run Direct.
Yes, so just go to youtube.com, C-Spot Run Direct, which is Wendy's page. And
you can tell I have no patience for this stuff. I want to introduce...
Let's get to him. He's not in studio, but he's called in. And who do we have today?
Okay, thank you, Peter. We have actually Clay Herbert. Clay Herbert. And Clay.
Hello.
Hi, Clay. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Clay, I'm going to give you just a little bit of an intro here. Clay's an entrepreneur, a marketer, and a graduate of Seth Godin's unique MBA program, which I read about that this morning in your bio, and I thought that was rocking because I have one of those big, gigantic Seth Godin books in my living room. As one of the world's leading crowdfunding experts, and you have helped over 50 entrepreneurs raise $5 million on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You're also a great public speaker and engaging audiences around the globe on innovation, creativity, marketing, entrepreneurship, and future work. Clay, I am so happy that you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me, Wendy. And you do look great, and I like your red shirt. And the new banner behind you looks wonderful as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not new. That's the thing I'm competing with. I'm competing with that sucker.
Right. But amazing. So you're able to watch a show.
Sure. He can be on and watch
I'm
live.
logged in.
Yeah.
I'm in the Twitter channel and everything.
That's very cool.
Amazing.
We love our new venue where it's live streaming video. It's great. It's great because I'm all about video. About visual. So radio was a real stretch for me. Actually, the reason that I know who you are, for many other reasons also, but I was listening to TheBeanCast, which I always do, because Bob Knorpp was my first guest on my very first The C-Spot. He actually named my show. And
nice.
Yeah, he regrets it. I had him on again, and he says, I wish I hadn't named it The C-Spot. And I said, well, that's a nice thing to say on my show.
What's up with that?
So anyway, the time really flies, Clay, and I really want to pick your brain, and I would love for you to talk about, because anybody can know your bio and where you've come from and what you've done by going online and reading about you. And if people are watching, they can open up another browser. What's your website, Clay?
Crowdfundinghacks.com is all the crowdfunding stuff, and then clayabear.com is my personal website.
Oh, it's Clay Airbear,
Airbear,
like
okay.
The French way. Airbear.
Yeah, that's right.
Airbear. Oh, comment allez-vous? Are you in Canada? Where are you?
No, in New York City.
Oh, you're in New York City, but you don't say Herbert. How many people say Herbert? Herbert.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone does. And Herbert. Herbert and Herbert.
Herbert.
Unless I'm in Canada or I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. There's lots of Avers down there, and they know how to say it down there as well.
That's interesting. I was just in New Orleans last week.
And I was actually thinking, is it Herbert or Hebert? And I was wrong on both counts.
Well, at least we know it's Clay. So we got that.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Hey, Clay, let's cut to the chase. And can you just jump in and tell us your take on crowdfunding, and then we'll go into more specifics. Some people listening might not even know what crowdfunding is.
Yeah, sure. That's a great place to start. So crowdfunding is the funding of creative projects by a crowd or a larger number of people. So one thing I hear all the time that people sort of get mistaken is they interchange the words crowdfunding and crowdsourcing.
Right.
And explaining the difference between the two actually helps you understand both, I think. Crowdsourcing is the sourcing of anything from a crowd. And so we all know Wikipedia as a crowdsourced encyclopedia and became the largest and best encyclopedia, really quickly because it was crowdsourced and because it was online. So that's an example of crowdsourcing information. Crowdfunding is sort of a subset of crowdsourcing. It's the sourcing of money or funds from a number of people. So at its broadest definition, that's what it is. And over the last few years, we're seeing crowdfunding really rise to prominence with platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and many others, where creators and entrepreneurs and artists can get their projects funded using these platforms. So that's the basic overview of it, and now everybody knows the difference between crowdsourcing and crowdfunding.
Now, there used to be a very big difference between Kickstarter, which gets a lot more media or gets a lot more attention for some reason, probably because of Veronica Mars and things like this. But didn't Kickstarter start out as more of a creative site where people in the creative world went to have creative projects funded, and Indiegogo was more of the product-based, site, or technology or anything that wasn't creative, basically.
Yeah, the bigger difference between the two is that Kickstarter is has much more specific guidelines and categories. If you look at Kickstarter, is still really a place for a lot of creative and film type projects, but so is Indiegogo. Their categories, if you sort of look at all of Kickstarter's categories and all of Indiegogo's categories next to each other, there's quite a bit of overlap. There's different form and how they work a little bit. They're relatively similar, but Kickstarter has much more restrictive guidelines as far as the types of projects they approve, and Indiegogo is much more open. Indiegogo sort of wants to be the Twitter or Facebook of crowdfunding, where as long as it's legal and you're not talking about anything illegal or drugs or whatever, Indiegogo wants creators to be able to approve it. They don't want to act as, they don't want to deny any projects. Whereas Kickstarter has much more restrictive sort of rules and guidelines. And I always point people to the Kickstarter guidelines page. Like, for instance, a big one is you can't do any cause-related fundraising on Kickstarter. So if you're raising money for breast cancer or raising money for water in Africa, that has to be Indiegogo or something else. It can't be on Kickstarter.
That's interesting. I had no idea about that.
You didn't?
No, that you couldn't be cause-related on Kickstarter.
No.
Interesting.
Yep.
And cause-related, on Indiegogo they have quite a few cause-related things where they're really, I don't know that I believe in raising money that has a cause. If it's not just for the cause, if you're raising money for your own benefit to do something with a product, and then you say, well, and we're going to take 5% of that or whatever, and we're going to give it to this cause, I think that's a little odd. I mean, it's almost like you're using a cause to get you where you want to go, as opposed to get where you want to go and then give money to a cause. Unless you're...
Yeah, and Soma did that. One of the more popular projects on Kickstarter was this water pitcher built by a friend of mine named Mike Del Ponte, and they actually did that. They wanted to be on Kickstarter, not Indiegogo, and so they didn't announce that, kind of to your point, Wendy, they didn't say a portion of the proceeds are going to charity water. They raised the money they needed to, and then afterwards sort of announced that. That's how they met Kickstarter's guideline that says you can't use these causes to promote your project, so they didn't announce the charity water partnership until after the fact. But I think I think it can be done in a very good integrated way. There are some other campaigns, the buy one give one model, like the Tom's Shoes and things like that. I think there are ways to use. Here's the thing: if donating to a portion of your proceeds to a cause is all the marketing, your only marketing hook or your only marketing story, you're probably not going to get funded anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it can be done in an authentic way, as long as it integrates with the product. And Tom's Shoes is a good example, because the marketing is the product. As you're walking around with Tom's Shoes, people say, "Oh, those are interesting shoes. What's the story behind those?" And then that's what you're really paying for, not shoes. You're paying for the ability to tell that story.
To tell the story, right. Yeah, that's Tom's is a great example of, here in LA, we have Abbot Kinney right in Venice. And I think that's where Tom's flagship store is, where it's the coolest store in the world. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've been to it or been to one, or if they even have another one, but it's a coffee shop mixed with not real donuts, not those kind of donuts. Peter
Don't get me started on donuts.
Okay, mixed with like pastries, and then you kind of go in the back and you can buy tchotchkes, and everybody's sitting around having coffee and on their computers just hanging out. And then right over here is where you can buy the shoes. And it's just so cool. It's a really cool. It's a hangout. Everybody hangs out there. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a pretty new model for a storefront shoe store.
Well, it's great for Abbot Kinney. Pretty soon they're going to put a Bloomingdale's in frickin' Abbot Kinney, as far as I'm concerned. They're going to take all the charm away from it. But anyway, I have to ask you this. The Oculus thing. What's your take on that? How do you, and for those, and you can maybe explain a little bit for those people watching or listening that don't know anything about, Oculus and Kickstarter and
Sure.
The recent thing that happened.
Yeah, so we just explained the difference between crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, and this is a good tee-up for explaining the difference between the two different types of crowdfunding. So there's equity-based crowdfunding and rewards-based crowdfunding. And Kickstarter and Indiegogo are currently 100% rewards-based crowdfunding. So what that means is, to the listeners, if you donate, you might donate $40 or $50 or $100, and in exchange you might get a film download or a book or a hooded sweatshirt, or in this case, an Oculus Rift virtual reality headset. That was the product. It was the current sort of one of the best leading virtual reality headset, and so it's very sort of techy, very sort of futuristic, and appeals to a certain type of person. And so what happened was they raised a little over, I believe, $2 million on Kickstarter, and then before the headsets were delivered, they were acquired by Facebook for $2 billion.
$2 billion.
So a huge jump, and the first big $1 billion exit from a Kickstarter-funded company. Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, this isn't fair because they helped fund the company and then it got sold to Facebook and they should get a piece of the sale. And I kind of call BS on that. That was not the original agreement. If you buy something in a store and then the store goes on to do well and get sold to another larger store, you don't get a portion of the store's profits. You wouldn't expect that. You made a purchase of a thing, and that's what we're dealing with here with Oculus. Now, it's unfortunate if, because of this Facebook acquisition, it seems like a lot of these virtual reality headsets that the people bought are not going to get delivered or completed. That sort of remains to be seen, but that's kind of the current thinking, is that now they've moved on, they've been acquired, and that's not going to happen. So what I say is, anyone, they have a little bit of a gripe that they might not get the virtual reality headset that they did, but the people that are saying that they should get a portion of the proceeds from the huge $2 billion sale to Facebook are sort of delusional. That was not the original agreement.
Well, everything gets blown out of proportion, right? Because I was, I don't know where I was a couple of weeks ago, and somebody mentioned Oculus, and they were saying how pissed off all the investors were from Kickstarter. And I stopped in my tracks and I said, wait a minute, they're not investors, No,
right. Yeah, that's a good point. The investors, equity-based crowdfunding is coming, and so it's not quite finalized yet. It's the Jobs Act. There's a bunch of rules and regulations that are all getting finalized, and as you can imagine, it's getting somewhat complex, and the platforms are just trying to keep up so that when this is possible. In that case, you will be able to get a portion of the company, but you're not going to be investing $100. It's probably going to be, I believe it's a minimum of $1,000, and it'll probably be more like 10 or 20 or 50,000. What that really is sort of like distributed angel investing to the crowd. So instead of raising money from friends and family, you can raise money from friends and family and the crowd, the air quotes around crowd.
Yeah, but Clay, isn't there's some sites that are doing that now? And I don't know, don't talk to me about money and all of that stuff. I just know how to spend it. But when I go on there and I start reading about them, and they are the equity sites where they're talking about debentures and things like this, and it gets a little scary. I mean, for the person that's not savvy and is going in there and is thinking, okay, I'm going to go on to one of these, the equity-based sites. Basically, they have a lot of different options. That's when I would assume that you would probably, if you're just an everyday person with a great product, great idea, you're an entrepreneur, whatever it might be, somebody might need someone like you.
Well, what I do is I help both on the reward side and then eventually on the equity side as well, help these companies with marketing, because that's what I'm good at. That's my superpower, is marketing and storytelling and pricing and scarcity and things like that.
Yeah, me too.
And that's what most crowdfunding creators struggle with. Usually they're artists or creatives or inventors or have an idea. They're not marketers by trade. And I always say crowdfunding is the ultimate platform for smart marketers, because if you take all of the things that good marketers are good at, so copywriting, storytelling via the video, pricing, urgency, scarcity, timing, it's all wrapped in this nice, simple one-page website that consumers know how to use. And if big brands spend billions of dollars to try to get us to pay attention to a 30-second spot on TV or an 8-second pre-roll on YouTube, but if you can get someone to click through to your crowdfunding video and the first 5 seconds of the video sells the next 2 minutes, you can get them to stick around for 2 minutes. So that's money that, Procter & Gamble would spend a whole lot of money to get somebody's attention like that. And so the thing is, people are generally not really great marketers. And so what I help them with via my course, I don't do the personal consulting anymore, but creating an online course, is understanding that marketing, understanding human psychology, understanding how to price your different reward levels, what you can offer, and things like that. And on the startup side, it's different because you're not offering a hooded sweatshirt, you're not offering a window farm like in the rewards-based side of things. You're offering a percentage of your company, but you still need to tell an effective story and market so that the person investing says, yes, I want to give you $10,000 for 1% of your company or 0.1% of your company.
I don't know why, I just have this feeling, and I had this feeling, I predicted it, not to toot my own horn because my horn's pretty small, but I was actually on the BeanCast and we were talking about Groupon back in the day. This was a few years back, and I said that the freaking thing is going to implode. I said, these local businesses, blah blah blah, and then it was for sale, and all of these things happen. And of course, the only way they're staying alive is by having their Groupon product thing, where everybody just gets reams and loses money except for Groupon. But here's where I'm going with this, is that it sounds, what you were just talking about, it sounds complicated, but easy enough, let's just say. Everybody gets funded. They get funded. They have these equity positions, blah, blah, blah. Like you just said, it's like maybe somebody is putting in X amount of thousands of dollars and they're going to get 3% equity position or whatever. Isn't it a little scary about the back end of things, right? How are these entrepreneurs, because in what I do, and what I do, which direct response television and bringing products to market through that venue, which is, everywhere in the world, what I worry about, and I do work on a performance model, I always have for 20 years, what I worry about is that I'm doing, not always do my clients know what the hell they're doing, so my back end percentage goes in the toilet, right?
Sure.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So are there going to be qualifying factors that you even know that these people that are asking for this money are even going to be able to understand how to give 10 people 3% of, the net of this and that and the other thing, or the gross of this and that and the other thing? Do you see where I'm coming from? Are they going to be able to manage this business that they're creating and they're taking money for?
I think there's two things. I want to make sure I'm answering the question that you're asking. On one side, there's the contracts and the legalities, and are they really going to get their 3% as soon as the crowdfunding campaign closes? And that's kind of a administrative thing, but I think that the platform's going to help with that. There's going to be plenty of lawyers involved and contracts involved, so I'm not really worried about the administrative side of having everything settled. As far as the success of the underlying startup that raises the crowdfunding. I mean, if you look at even VCs, take the top VCs like a Fred Wilson at Union Square Ventures, they don't have, they have a better hit rate than some other VCs, but in general, there's lots of money, millions of dollars, and sometimes the startups go belly up. So from a success perspective, I think what it does is it just changes kind of the role of the gatekeeper, and it allows anyone to raise money from anyone. And certainly due diligence is going to have to be a really big part of it. And I would say it's kind of like today, we know the stories of the rich dentist or doctor who wants to dabble in startups, and they might throw $50,000 at a startup and then think that they get the right to call the internet startup entrepreneur and tell them how to run their business. And obviously that's not the case. And you should assume it's really just managing your sort of portfolio risk. I don't think anyone should put all of their money into crowdfunded startups. I think that would be pretty foolish. But if you have something and want access to a portion of that, and then if you know the founder, if you like the founder, if you know the team, or there are these things called syndicates on a platform called AngelList, where, let's say Tim Ferriss is, a popular marketer, speaker, et cetera. If I say, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think Tim has kind of a Midas touch. I think I trust Tim's case in investing in startups. What I can do is put money into Tim's syndicate, and then every time Tim decides to invest, I basically get the right to come along for the ride.
Right? That's just like a fund, basically.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so there's pretty much, basically what's happened is all of the gatekeepers and the structure that only allows certain people like VCs to do this has been flattened, and now everyone's going to be able to do it. And to your point, it's definitely going to create a lot of confusion. It's definitely going to create a lot of, but it's kind of like cars. Like, cars are great, but we still have car crashes, and it's going to be the same thing with startups. We're going to have a lot of failed startups, but I'm always a fan when there's fewer gatekeepers and fewer sort of barriers in between. So I think it's going to open up. You're going to see someone, invest in the next Facebook, where they raised money not just from Union Square Ventures, but from a whole bunch of individual investors.
Yeah, I'm not here to bash it, because I actually want to use crowdfunding to raise some money for, I think I'm going to do Indiegogo, but for my EasyGo Pro, for my little toilet stool.
Mm-hmm.
I have everything. For me it's crazy, because here I am, a marketing expert. Here I am, I have my own product. Here I am, it's proof of concept. I've already worked on one that was like rocked it on television. I have everything. I have the website, I have the marketing experience, I have the great designer, I know how to market it, I have a television commercial, I know how to do all of that stuff, right? But yeah, Kickstarter said, go away. You can't be on Kickstarter, because I actually wanted to just raise money on Kickstarter for the first run, because we already had our tooling going, but I can't do that. I cannot do it. And so, but Indiegogo, I believe that I could. And here's where I'm coming from on this, is that, do I need the money? Well, I think every startup needs money. Could I do it without the money? Yes, because that was always the plan. But if there's money out there that I can get, and it's a great product, because it's a product that does really help everybody, right? Then why wouldn't I do a Kickstarter? I think we sent you the information. You're familiar with what I'm doing, aren't you? Are you? Or was that somebody else?
I don't think so. I don't think I got that information. So we can do a little live campaign right on the air. So tell me more about it.
Okay, well, if you can open up another browser.
Sure.
And we're going to actually air the commercial. You know what, Peter? Can we air that commercial?
Yeah, we'll air the commercial, and then a little bit later in the show, we'll air the sponsor's commercial. But right now, if you tell him the browser to open up, and then while he's opening the browser, we'll show the EasyGo Pro commercial.
See it, honey, Peter. He's going to see it if he keeps watching UBN.
Okay. So here we are.
Here's the commercial, Clay.
Okay.
In an average lifetime, 1,500,000 minutes are spent on the toilet.
People spend a lot of time on the toilet because they're not going very easy.
So what's the problem?
When you sit on a toilet, you're
So
at
it's
a
playing
90-degree
right
angle.
But you can tell them the URL to go to.
This causes pushing, straining, hemorrhoids, constipation.
That's crazy.
Everybody goes.
It's what we all do. We're human beings.
We want to create a product that is great for humanity.
Making it easy for people people to improve their lives?
That's all we care about.
Well, go time just got easier. Introducing Easy Go Pro, the only way to go.
Human bodies are made by nature, and there is a position that is more natural than sitting on a toilet with a 90-degree angle of your legs.
Anatomically, we were designed to eliminate an 35-degree angle.
What Easy Go Pro
And actually, let's
does
just hold up
is
1
it
minute.
elevates your
Let the
feet.
commercial play out for 1 minute.
Proper
Position for easier elimination.
You just sit, lift, and go in a natural position.
The benefits list is this long from a pure health perspective.
A healthy colon is encouraged by doctors for all ages.
The key to vitality, it's the key to longevity, it's the key to your health.
That is really the essence.
Easy Go Pro is simple, safe, and it works. Sturdy but lightweight, it's perfect for the entire family. When not in use, it slides easily out of the way.
Is like the perfect height for a 2-year-old to rest his feet on.
If you make that little change, you will realize immediately the benefits.
And that's the reason that we created it.
At EasyGoPro.com, we guarantee it will work for everyone. Be a healthy goer. Order now at EasyGoPro.com. Try it for 70 days. If you don't absolutely feel better, just send it back for a full product refund. Go time just got healthier at EasyGoPro.com.
And we are back.
Okay.
All right.
All right, great. Hey, Peter.
Yes.
Turn up my thing there. Thank you. What'd you think? You were saying that health related, but Indiegogo, Kickstarter told me it's because it was an infomercial.
Yeah, and I think that's really, I mean, if you want to sell these, that's probably honestly a better model. On Kickstarter, there's just not a lot of, or even on crowdfunding, even on Indiegogo, the term is like creative project, and both these platforms really say like they're for funding creative projects. So that could be a film that doesn't exist, a book, a thing like that. This is not it's not a knock on what the product is or does, and I understand, I've read up on the health benefits of it and things like that, but it's not like this has been my dream. I've always wanted to make a documentary about children who've lost a parent at war. I've always wanted to write this book about traveling the world. It's not what you would call a creative project. It's more like what Kickstarter said, sort of like an infomercial product. The other thing is, as opposed to me
going in earlier and raising the funds to do it because I had this idea and this creative idea for something that would, benefit people. If I had gone in earlier, are you saying? I think this is valuable information for people, though. If I had gone in earlier into the,
that's kind of part of it is if you said, this is a thing that I want to do and I'm going in earlier, in that case, it would sort of need to be something that doesn't exist anywhere else in that exact format, because people will say, but if it's a product that already exists, so take pencils, right? Crowdfunding is not good for sort of, I would say, selling existing inventory. And this is a product that, like I said, I've read up on the health benefits and things like that, but it's not something that doesn't exist and you're hoping to get the money. So yeah, I think if you'd have gone earlier and said, this is what I want to create and I'm the inventor, then something like Indiegogo, it could have worked.
Right. Because there's a lot of cool products. Somebody came to me a couple of years ago and I just loved the product, and he was raising money on Indiegogo for it. It was like a dog bowl that when the dog walked up, it opened up automatically, right? And then it would shut, so your food could stay, dog's food could stay, or cat's food could stay fresh. It was cool. It just automatically opened up. It had a sensor on it. But that was before, that was a couple of years ago, and I remember saying, what the hell is Indiegogo? Seriously.
Right.
So because we're going to keep you here for a few more minutes, at least 5, 6, or 7.
Sure.
And speaking of dog bowls, can you speak on that topic of the Kiddie-O that you had brought up in your topic sheet there, Clay?
Oh.
Yeah, definitely. So Kiddie-O is probably my best sort of student when I was doing the crowdfunding individual consulting. They're about to finish up the campaign. There's about a day or two left. Kiddie-O is a really cool product. It allows you to play with your cat even when you're not at home. So it's sort of this hourglass-shaped coffee maker-looking thing, and it's got a camera and a laser. And the idea is you buy it, you set it up, mount it on a shelf at home, like in a bookcase or on a table, and then you can go to work and you can take out your smartphone, your iPhone or Android, eventually iPhone now. Actually, I think it's available for both. And you can hit a button on your phone, and the device back at home makes a noise to attract the cat. The cat comes running in, and then you can draw a laser on the floor. You can see your cat. Your cat can hear you. You can
and you can talk.
Oh my God, my sister wants. I gotta.
I mean, I'm a fan of it. I've been tracking. I bought one. I've been tracking it. I'm so excited about it. And I was so excited when I heard that you were their advisor or something, right?
Yeah. So Lee came to me last September, and I've been chronicling, like, on my blog at crowdfundinghacks.com. If you click blog, I've been chronicling Lee's sort of a case study of how Kidio and why it works. So it was when Lee came to me, we talked about the marketing plan, and he had plans for press and social media. And I said, well, how many emails do you have? And he said, well, I have 2, one for work and one for personal. And I said, no, how many opt-in emails do you have on a landing page? And he said, do I need that? Is that helpful? But to his credit, when I told him to do that, he had a great team with great branding and great design, and they iterated on the landing page. That's what I talk about on the blog, is how we built the landing page and how we sent traffic to it. Before he launched, from between November 20th and April 20th, he gathered 13,000 pre-launch opt-in emails, and these weren't just email lists or random emails that he built up over time. These were specific people that saw Kidio on a landing page and opted in and said, yes, I want to be notified when your Kickstarter launches. And he was funded in 36 minutes, 2 times funded in the first day.
Oh my God!
And is currently at 247,000, over 800% funded because he did the marketing ahead of time.
Exactly.
And the biggest tip for all of your sort of listeners and readers is, I kind of call it the MacGyver trick. Like, don't be like MacGyver. Remember the show when we grew up watching MacGyver always had 30 seconds to defuse the bomb?
Yeah.
Well, people launch their crowdfunding projects, and then they start marketing, and that's acting like MacGyver and only giving yourself 30 days to market the product.
I so agree.
Kidio, what if MacGyver had 6 months to defuse the bomb? It would have been a lot easier and a lot less stressful. So what I'm telling these people is put up a landing page, start sending traffic there. As soon as you have a design mock of your product or a video, do a version of your Kickstarter video 6 months early, put it on a landing page and start gathering emails, because that's how you get funded in 36 minutes, like Lee did. Was you have 13,000 people that want your products before you even launch. So,
or you just plain old get funded. I mean, in the 30 days, it's amazing to me that it's so because this is a marketing radio show. We sometimes try to talk about it a little bit, that marketing is the core to every single thing, I believe, that in our lives, whether it's our personal brand or whether it's, how you want to do a Kickstarter campaign or a crowdfunding campaign, then damn it, you better have a whole hell of a lot of people that are going to know about it happening. Don't just think, because there is that inventor or that entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are not inventors, and inventors are not entrepreneurs, and sometimes they meet, but rarely. But they have this mentality that just because I have it, they will come, and just because I love it, everyone thinks that it's great. And I just had a meeting yesterday with someone that when they pulled something out of their pocket. These are people that have been in this business for a long time and that I've known for quite some time. Wendi, have lunch with us. We want to show you something. Hurry! I have lunch with them yesterday, and it's Blair. Blair, right. Tom Jordan. And Tom Jordan, and he pulls this thing out of his pocket, and I look at it and I went, oh my God, I saw that, that's been around for 6 years, I mean, just
that's crazy.
Just think about that. The reason that it's still looking for funding or it's still looking for some help is because it's never going to get any. My point is that there's this passion and this vulnerability that people who have this dream, now that dream can be worth something or it can not be worth something, but if there's this venue that allows you to go out there and raise money to bring your dream into a reality, then be prepared to go and do it. Just don't think you're going to put it up there and they're going to come.
Yeah, what I say is crowdfunding projects get funded before they launch, not while they're live. So it's all about the planning.
Yeah, because Seth Godin, I funded his Icarius book, and he did that, and he well exceeded, but it's Seth, But still, I only did $60, and I got this. Peter, you saw the book I have, right?
I got
that gigantic book from him. Gigantic, amazing, beautiful coffee table book that, you can buy it at Fred Segal's for X amount of dollars, but that thing was so well worth it. But, that still was Seth, he was going to get funded.
Yeah. And speaking of Seth, that's kind of how you got your start, Clay. And we've got about 4 minutes left with you, Clay. So tell us a little bit about your start and what you're doing now, so people.
Well, why don't you just tell us about what you're doing now, so we don't waste the time? Yeah, Peter.
Yeah,
sure.
Good call.
I escaped 10 years at doing corporate consulting with Accenture. Studied with Seth for 6 months. That was life-changing to be able to sit in a room with one of the smartest marketers in the world and one of the really nicest humans in the world for 6 months, and then and now I'm just focused completely on the crowdfunding stuff. There's nothing I like more than helping entrepreneurs fund their dreams, whether that be a book or a film or a Kidio project, and it's just really fun. I've always loved teaching, and I've always loved helping entrepreneurs, and my business prior to this has always been helping big companies, and it's really fun to move the needle. When I help, huge companies with marketing efforts, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's fun, but oftentimes it's hard to see the actual results because it's kind of a drop in the ocean. But with things like Kidio and entrepreneurs like that, it's really fun to see them, launch their project and their dream into the world. So
if someone wants to work with you and get a hold of you, they just go to your clayabea.com website, or how do they get a hold of you, Clay?
If they want to do crowdfunding, Clay Bear would be best for speaking engagements, but crowdfunding, it'd be better to go to crowdfundinghacks.com. If they just sign up on the email list, they'll be notified when I launch the online course. That's the best way to do it. I'm not doing the individual consulting anymore because that doesn't really scale with individual project creators, but I'll have an online course that's launching soon.
Well, I think I'm going to take it.
Yeah, when
seriously.
When are you starting that, the online course, Clay?
In about 3 weeks.
And that's going to be on crowdfundinghacks.com is where it'll be?
Yeah, there'll be a bunch of there's already a handful of blog posts, and there'll be videos and tips and tricks. So if somebody's kind of generally interested but isn't launching their crowdfunding yet, I just want them to kind of enjoy the content on the site, sign up on the email list, and you'll get notified when there's blog posts and videos and cool things happening in the crowdfunding world. And then if they want to actually do a crowdfunding thing and learn this step by step, kind of like getting an MBA in crowdfunding, that'll be the course.
Well, I know that there was so much more I wanted to talk about because there's a lot. So I hope to ask you to come back soon. And I hope you would agree to that because there are so many things to talk about.
Yeah,
and I wish I was saying last week, I just want 2 hours. I don't want just 1 hour or 50 minutes on, seriously. But thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Wendi. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, and
thanks for being here, Clay.
We'll talk to you soon. We now have to pay attention to our sponsor, who we kind of let fall to the side. But anyway, thank you, Clay, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Of course. Thanks.
All right, bye, Clay.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Clay, it was so great.
So anyway, Peter,
a wealth of information.
Can we go to our sponsor real quick?
Yeah, so we're going to just have a minute video for our...
Can we just go to our sponsor real quick? I'm teaching him and everybody that watches every week. Peter, don't preface what you're going to do. We're going to take a sponsor break. Click the button. There we go.
Direct Avenue is much more than a leading direct response TV media buyer. We specialize in the expert planning, brand building, analysis, and management of short-form and branded DRTV ad campaigns. We manage direct response TV ad campaigns for clients throughout the United States and Canada. As a Direct Avenue client, you'll benefit from big agency relationships and resources, but receive boutique agency service with the flexibility and creativity to plan and manage a TV ad campaign that meets the particular needs of your company. For more information, visit directavenue.com. When you contact us, mention you heard about us on the C-Spot radio show and receive a free analysis of your TV ad campaign.
And thanks to our sponsors at directavenue.com.
Yeah, Scott Kowalczyk. Here, Peter, I'm going to give Scott's number out. We decided we weren't going to do that anymore, but I like to play a little bit of a trick here. You can go to you can call 760-579-4210, and that's Scott Kowalczyk, the CEO of Direct Avenues Direct Line. So give him a call. Just if you just call to say, hi, I heard you on the C-Spot, and I don't even really care, but I thought I'd call you.
Right.
He'd love it.
But they have a lot to offer.
They have that offer, right, for the free because I can't hear the commercial when it's
right.
playing.
But yeah, they do have an offer for a free consultation. Just mention C-Spot Talk when you call in, and it's a completely free consultation on your product
for your media campaign, not on your. For your media campaign.
Okay, your media campaign, correct.
Yeah, media campaign.
For whatever you may be selling.
And all my clients I refer them to Direct Avenue because I personally, that's who I'm going to be using for EasyGo Pro. So anyway, here, I'm going to give everybody a pitch. Look, I'm going to give you a $5 off coupon. Okay, you have to use the coupon code $5, the number 5 off, OFF. And if you go to easygopro.com, right now they're $24.99, but you get free shipping if you buy more than one, you get free shipping. And if you use the $5, number 5 off coupon code when you're checking out, you can get $5 more off. So easygopro.com if you really want to feel great. There.
Wow, that's amazing.
Peter's he's happy that I finally pitched my own thing.
Totally.
He always tells me I need to do that, talk about Facebook more, talk about it where they can get a hold of us.
Yeah.
And Peter, I walked in today and I said, I said, here's your bag, Peter. Right?
Right.
Because our show is really, our tagline is, what's your bag? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's a product and everybody needs marketing.
Yeah. And so I suppose like when Clay was on, we would have said, Clay, what's your bag? He'd say, well, I help crowdfunding.
I got to start doing that. We have to start doing that. We got to get this new show kind of like,
Yeah.
The last.
We're kind of like, it's Clay, and we've molded it. We're getting it molded. We've kind of got a little bit of a format, and
we do.
But the what's your bag is a good thing, just to even get those sound bites. You're like, Clay, what's your bag?
What's your bag? Okay, I gotta. You heard it here, folks. From now on, give us a call if we don't say what's your bag.
Right.
Yeah. Or give us a call if we do say what's your bag, and we say give us a call.
Yeah, and what's your bag?
So Peter, I'm off to Minnesota tonight.
And what's in Minnesota?
Johnny V.
Is it a follow-up with the commercial?
I have to do some pickup shots with John. We don't have the same DP. I had to find different DP. I had to, we only have Saturday to shoot. Hopefully it's not going to be raining, but it looks like it's going to be drizzling. We're building his persona, which is really fun to do. It's kind of like building a Billy Mays persona. Right?
Wow.
Because we all know that Billy wasn't like that. Right? Billy was the kindest, sweetest, quietest guy in the world when he wasn't on camera. The moment he went on camera, he was like a wild man.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Most people don't know that about Billy. Yeah, that's why it was so sad when he passed away, other than he passed away, because he was just a lovable, huggable little bear. He really was.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, going to Minnesota tonight. Yeah.
And when does that commercial campaign start?
We don't know yet. We're doing packaging, we're doing everything for it. But I've come up with some really fun things to do in the commercial, just from footage that I was shooting. The camera was rolling, I was making fun of him, and he would do something, and then it wasn't for camera.
Right. That's the best footage.
And
sometimes
that's the stuff that I kind of weaved into the fabric of the commercial.
Interesting.
And now I want to go back and perfect it. Right. So I have all that. So anyway, I'm leaving tonight to do that. I'll be back on Sunday night. What else?
Well, I wish you luck. I hope it goes great.
My mold is on the water for EasyGo Pro, so we are live. Basically, if people were to start ordering, the mold's going to be here in 7 days, and so we're going to be able to start shipping product. Yay!
Wow, exciting!
Besides the great samples that we've had.
And so that means that if people order now, so we're just a couple weeks away from getting our EasyGo Pros.
Yeah. So we're starting our marketing campaign, and it was interesting because I did all this pre-marketing, and I've had the live website, which I've changed quite a few times because I fine-tuned it.
Okay. So if you've gone there before, go back now. It's a little different.
We have our commercial is a little bit different now. We put some new music in it, and we fine-tuned the graphics of it, and gave it a little bit more of a health message, as the first commercial that I did was more about, who doesn't want to go easier? Come on, you stupid idiot. Right. Who doesn't want to go easier? And then I figured, that's a little too snarky. That's a little too Cooper, and so we created a much more healthy one. And we're getting great response internationally because we have we signed an international deal a while ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I created a 7.5 commercial from the interviews that I did and stuff. So that was kind of interesting. Because they want 7.5s internationally.
Wow.
Then they loop them for a 15-minute slot in time.
Okay.
In media.
Wow.
So
Well,
it's
I'm
a little
so
bit different
excited.
animal.
That's so exciting. So we'll be keeping our audience up to date on that in the future. And
yes.
Speaking of our future, since we got to wrap up right now, next week we will have Ariana and Christos Savalas in the
Christo
studio
confirm?
here. Not quite yet, but Ariana is working on that.
Ariana's coming.
Yeah.
And Ariana, now who is Ariana? Ariana is the daughter of Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
And so is Christo. They are both the most talented, most amazing musicians. When their mom was on the show, I went to the jazz club that night with everybody, and it was like I was with Hollywood royalty. It was crazy how Telly Savalas's spirit still penetrates everywhere, and Ariana performed, and it was just fabulous. So make sure to tune in next week, or at least download and watch the show, because she will sing, and so will Crystal will play
live here in the studio. So
and
it's
Peter,
gonna be great.
Before we go, I want to just say that we have artists on the show because we believe that artists are products, right? Singer-songwriters, they're products. Everybody needs the exposure, and the C-Spot is really about the place where we can give back and give exposure to entrepreneurs, to inventors, to singer-songwriters, authors, you name it. We've had a lot, and then we also bring on experts like Clay.
Yeah.
So I love doing the show for that reason.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And gets me out of the office and gets me out of my crazyhood, and you've always loved and wanted to do radio, right, Peter?
Yeah. Ever since I was a teenager, radio's been a part of my life, so it's great to be back here.
I'm so happy to have you. Although I do say shit to him sometimes, but he knows my personality.
Got to keep me in line sometimes, you know.
But anyway,
so at that we got to really wrap it up now. So thanks for listening and watching the C-Spot Going to Market with Wendi and Peter.
C-Spot Talk Facebook page.
Yes, facebook.com C-Spot Talk.
And YouTube is C-Spot Run Direct YouTube channel, and that's but we'll post all of the shows. But anyway, thank you, Clay Herbert, for being here today. Peter, thank you for
Clay.
being here.
Thank you, Wendy.
And
we'll
see you when I get
back.
back.
Next week.
All right. Oh, outro music by Tom Horsey.